Hello everybody and welcome back. I'm excited to be here for week 11 of the hashtag Altered Index 2024 challenge. This is my Tuesday challenge that I'm running in my Facebook group, Non-Stop Papercrafts. You can find my group in the links down below. I'm also hosting this in the Junk Journaling for Everyone Facebook group as well. Lots of people are joining in, which is fantastic, and it's always wonderful to see people's interpretations of the different prompts. If you are new here, basically this challenge is run every Tuesday, and we are altering an index card based on 3 prompts that I give out each week. Now, I did have somebody in a previous video ask if I could share my list of prompts, so I will put those in my Ko-fi shop. They're great for all sorts of projects. Some people aren't even doing altered index cards, they're doing art journaling in one of their journals, and they're using the prompts to kind of help create the page. So the prompts can be used in a variety of different ways. But as I said, I'll put my list in my Ko-fi shop, so you're welcome to go over there and grab that. So the 3 prompts for today, as usual, we have a colour, a word, and then a thing. That could be something that's kind of used within the card, or it could be, again, a kind of theme. So the colour we have today is light blue. The thing is paint. And the word is dream. So those are the 3 prompts for today. I have got some bits out and started preparing what I'm going to do for my cards. Obviously, I've got my altered index card. These are a standard 4x6 size here in the UK. You can obviously get all sorts of different sizes. I have lots of different sizes, but this is the one I've got the most of, so that's why I'm using this size. You don't even need an index card. You can just cut a piece of card down to the size that you want to use. It's entirely up to you. So as well as my index card, I've got one of these word sheets because I'm thinking of using a sentiment from here. And then for the dream part, I've got this stamp set that has "May all your dreams come true." So I'm going to use that stamp on here as well. It actually comes with an owl die as well. But yeah, these stamps came with it. I think it was part of a magazine actually. But I've got the die and then these stamps. And then for the kind of paint theme, oops, getting everything stuck. For the paint theme, I have a die set that makes this really cool looking sort of paintbrush, which I will stick together in a moment. So I've got this really cool looking paintbrush and I've put my light blue on there. I then also created with my gel plate just a background that I thought hopefully looks a little bit dreamy. So again, I've used light blues, I've used a little bit of yellow, there's some white in there. And I've got the circles. Not that the circles necessarily mean anything, but I was just having fun seeing what I could do. There is a kind of textured pattern in the background. I just used a sponge to kind of sponge off some of the paint, and yeah, that's what I come up with. So like I said, hoping it looks a little bit dreamy. I'm going to have this, as I said, I'm going to have that stamp saying "May all your dreams come true," and then having maybe one of these sentiments down in the corner. Now this painted panel that I've created is quite big, so I do need to trim that down. So I think I'm going to do that first and get that stuck down onto this base. This was just a spare card that I didn't use. But you can see my first attempt on this side, so it doesn't look particularly great. But then when I started adding a bit more colour, it came out like that, which I thought was perfect for this card. So as you can see, it is larger, so I'm going to glue the index card onto here, and then I can obviously trim it afterwards. Okay, I'm now going to just trim around the edge, and I am going to do it with scissors. I'm going to be brave. Not normally particularly great with scissors, but yeah, I think it's just much quicker than trying to get my trimmer out. There we go. Okay, so that's my card. As I said, I've got this paintbrush, and I have mixed to the side some blue paint, a light blue paint. It's not quite as light blue as that, but I'm going to add some paint to this as well. But I think I'm going to start by just sticking this together. Now, just to make my brush handle a bit darker than the actual brush bristles, I'm going to bring in my ground espresso and just ink this up a little bit. I am going to go up the side of the bristles, but I'm not going to go anywhere else with it. Right, okay, so now that that's inked, I'm going to glue those two together. Let's move that out the way for a second. And I really love this die set because it gives you that kind of textured look of your brush bristles. I can't remember the make of the die. I do not store my dies and stamps in their original packaging, only because it takes up a lot of space. So I do this quite often. So I have the stamp set, I've got the dies on the other side, and most of mine are on these colour coded because I have different colours depending on the theme, whether they're nature or what have you. But yeah, I don't have everything in its original packaging, so sometimes I remember where it's from, but yeah, I don't always, and I can't at the moment think where this one is from. But it is a very fun die. You've got thinner paintbrushes as well, so it's all different sizes. Okay, so that sticks on there. And then you've got this kind of metal bit which butts up to the bristles and then comes down. And I've done that in a kind of shiny material. I think this is the same material actually that I used for the butterfly on one of the other altered index cards. But I thought just to make it look a bit more metal, I'll use that. So that just, like I said, butts up to the bottom and sticks down there. Okay, and then before I put this on, just checking it, so it goes that way, I'm going to use this. Now I have kind of scraped off as much paint as I can because I don't want it sort of too wet. I'm just going to brush it on a little bit over here, just so it kind of blends in with what I'm going to do on the card. Now this hopefully won't take too long to dry, because I'm only doing a very thin coat. But again, it just makes it look, I think, a bit more realistic because you kind of get those paintbrush strokes on there as well by doing this. Okay, so that's just a very thin layer. I'm going to let that dry, so I'm going to move that over to the side. Right, I'm then going to think where I want this, because what I want to do, so that's going to go there. I want to kind of create a kind of painted curve to make it look like the paintbrush has actually kind of moved. So I'm just going to faintly do it. And then I can obviously just add a bit more paint. Now this is my messy mat, so I don't care if I get paint on it, it's not a biggie. Okay, I'm going to move that brush a second. so now that I've got that stroke, obviously it's extremely light at the moment. Obviously I wanted a light blue because that's the colour. What I'm going to do though is grab my heat gun. I'm going to dry it down, and then I'm just going to build up some layers. I'm going to put some more on top of that. But I'm just going to grab my heat gun just so I can give it a little bit of a blast. Okay, so I've grabbed my heat gun. I am going to turn the sound off for this, and I'm going to speed it up a little bit. So I'm just going to keep drying it, add another layer, dry it, add another layer, and just keep going until I'm happy with how it looks. But I'm going to mute it and speed it up, otherwise it's very, very, very noisy. Right, okay, so I've applied a couple of layers on there. As you can see, I'm starting to get a little bit sweaty on the back, so I'm just going to give my board a quick clean. Right, okay, so we've got that, we've got our paint, so I think it just needs something running through it to kind of give it a bit more texture. So I'm just going to grab a couple of pens. Okay, so I've got a pro marker that I think I'm going to use, and I'm just going to use it just to do a little bit of kind of outlining and some shading. So I'm just going to follow the curve, and I realise it's a slightly different blue, but that's fine. And then I am just going to add some kind of playful streaks. Okay, I'm going to do the same in the brush. I'm just going to add some up the sides. Okay, something like that. Right, now let's bring some bits in because everything started blowing around when I had my heat gun on, so let's start bringing things back in. So I'm going to stick that down on there, so let's get that done. And then I'm just going to line this up with the bristles. Like that. And then that's going to go on there like that. I think that looks pretty cool. Okay, so let's get that stuck down, and then we can do our stamping and pick our sentiment as well. Okay, and then this sentiment was going to go here. So that I'm going to ink, and I'm actually going to stamp it in black ink. So I'm just going to go and grab my stamping platform and remove some of these bits. Right, so here's my stamping platform. Just to make sure it always stamps in the same place, I'm going to line it up with my washi tape, use my magnets to hold things down. Give it one more stamp. Brilliant, that looks good. Okay, now that ink is still wet, so I'm not going to touch that for a moment, otherwise I'm going to end up smudging it. I'm just going to put the lid on my ink pad before I end up sticking my finger or something in that. So we've got May All Your Dreams Come True. And then there are a few kind of creative ones on here that I quite liked. So Be Original's quite cool, isn't it? Yeah, I think I might just go with Be Original or Be Awesome. I don't know. No, Be Original. That's a bit better. Be Original. Okay, so now we've got to put our tab on. Okay, and for this one, it's going to go in the 3rd position. So this just helps me line up where all my tabs are. So this one's going to go over here. So I'm just going to line that up and slot that underneath. And then bring this down. And once I'm happy with the position, I'm just going to squeeze it closed. Okay. And one thing I did around the outside, I kind of drew around, and I was thinking I might want to do that around here, but I'm not sure yet. Do I want to? Yeah, I think I might actually. So I'm just going to start in this corner. I'm just using a fine liner. I'm going to go round the edge, and it just gives it a little bit of a fun, playful border. Not bothered if it's straight. Okay, something like that. Just touch the tab at the top a bit. There we go. Right, okay, so there then is my number 11 card. I'm really happy with that. I love how that's turned out. As you can see, this is still a little bit wet, so that is going to have to sit for a moment before I actually start putting it away. But yeah, let's just check. So we've got paint. I have a painted background and my paintbrush. Light blue, yeah, I've got a light blue here and in the background. Dream, we've got the word dreams, and as I said, I'm hoping the background looks a little bit dreamy too. So I feel that I've ticked off all of the different prompts, and yeah, I've really had fun with this one. I hope this card has inspired you. I cannot wait to see what you create with these prompts. Don't forget to use the hashtag AlteredIndex2024 so that I can find your posts, and also most importantly so others can find your posts as well. This is being hosted, as I say, in my Facebook group, Non-Stop Papercrafts. It's also being hosted in the Junk Journaling for Everyone Facebook group as well. So you can post in either of those Facebook groups. Thank you very much for joining me today, and I will see you all in the next crafty video. Bye for now.